Hello everybody, this is Marty from Dawgs Blog with a noontime report of the morning session of the Frank Carson et al. Case on January 29, 2019. Judge was late. This is Tuesday. Judge was late. Supposed to start at 9. Jury finally came up at 9:52. Judge on the bench at 9:55. Percy Martinez asked a couple questions of Robert Woody. As far as having any knowledge prior to the missing person of Corey Kaufman when he had the polygraph interview in 2014 with Agent Jefferson. He had to be reminded again, of course, and refreshed with the transcripts. Then he says, yeah. Then he asked him about his testimonial agreement and what he's agreed to say in that testimonial agreement. If he didn't say that he had made those threats to Corey Kaufman, that they could violate his agreement or be in violation of that agreement. So the stipulation of facts he was asked about in the agreement includes the your ass is grass comment. He did have to refresh that also to remember. No further questions were asked by Robert Woody. Marlissa Ferrer started cross-examination. She was showing him the agreement again. She's trying to show that there was no supplemental information on that agreement, like the stipulation of certain things he has to say. Objection, sidebar. Everything was going sideways already. Then it got stranger. And I noticed about that time, when they're at the sidebar, there's a gentleman that came into the courtroom, and he caught her attention immediately. And, just sometimes you get that feeling. And even the bailiff came over and talked to him. He copped an attitude with the bailiff. The bailiff stood by the back door. The bailiff handled it very well, by the way. He stood by the back door. The bailiff stood by the back door for a few minutes. I noticed the guy, prior to the bailiff coming over, he was going through pictures on his phone. They looked like a Facebook page pictures. I couldn't tell of anybody in particular, and I had a very good view of it. And we were watching him very close because he caught our attention. And as the bailiff walked back up to his desk, he slid over a little bit. He took 2 pictures of the jury. Very strange. And the jury, members of the jury were immediately brought the attention to the bailiff. In fact, we were all doing it. This was totally inappropriate. And the jury eventually was sent out around 10:15. The gentleman was taken out about outside, or actually set in a side room so the jury didn't have to go by him as they're leaving the room. Robert Woody was taken off the stand, and the initial information, apparently, that was real preliminary information, that he is represents himself to be a reporter for local media. So nobody has any idea what that means, and so they did have him isolated, and they're bringing over a patrolman to take a report on what had happened. And I believe it was a sheriff's deputy, but I'm not sure. So 11:17, we were outside for quite a while. The jury had actually gone out at 10:15, and 11:17, we came back in, and again, he had to represent him as an attorney. I mean, not an attorney, I'm sorry, as a reporter for the local media. And the judge is going to bring the jurors back up to discuss the situation. If there's any major concerns, she's probably going to have to end up doing voir dire with them. I don't know what's going to play out here. The gentleman's name was Ricardo Serrano. Ricardo Serrano, if anybody wants to research that a little bit, send me some pictures and I'll tell you if that's him or not, because I got a very good look at him. He was cited for contempt of court, and his phone was seized as evidence, and he will like I said, be back on February 27th at 9 a.m. for a hearing on what he did. Apparently, there were some concerns about some possible comments made by jurors. I didn't hear them, so I don't know. And it's to be discussed. The jury was sent to lunch at that point, so they were sent out around 11:25. They were in there, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. And the jury was in there about 3 minutes. So after the jury left, Jai Gohil argued that the court gave a 6-month estimate, and now this case has gone over a year, and I'm talking about a year from jury selection. Jury selection started in January of 2018. And now he says we have this incident, we've had other things that have been going on. He says Robert Woody was their only case, and they took him this long to bring him in to testify. 2 jurors have been requesting some time estimations, and apparently they have issues going on with their employers and such. And there's some that apparently are may not be getting paid at this point because of the length of time. Jai Gohil is requesting the court give an estimation to the jury and nail it down. Jai Gohil suggested that tell the jury mid-March it'll be done. The defense has witnesses they've repeatedly had to order back, and some of them are not too happy as they are losing work. One is in the military and is constantly traveling with his military work. He says there has to be a limit. We have to draw a close to this. And Jai also mentioned that some of these jurors may give in to the pressures of this, and he feels it is also a DA's attempt to do so at this time. Hans argued that he agreed, and this is double the original estimate that's going on right now, and everything has a breaking point with all people, especially a juror that's sitting on this case. We need to give the jury a firm date. So that's where we're at. We broke for lunch. Tom's going to have a little more because I left for lunch a little early. I want to get this information out so people, if anybody wanted to look up Mr. Ricardo Serrano and see what the deal was with him. We're going to be back at 1:30, and I think they're planning on having the jury back at 1:30 and continue. Marlissa Ferrer is going to continue her redirect with Robert Woody. Don't forget the podcast tonight.